Jeff from Mid-Atlantic Welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is So You Think You Know Craps, episode 10. That's one a month we've done with my good friend G, who is over that way. G, good evening. How you doing, my friend?
Doing good, Jeff. Yes, this is episode 10, regression and recovery, and we're going to add another one right by it, which is rebuy. Hopefully, a lot of people won't have to do that. But yeah, looking forward to it. And if you're new watching this show, don't forget to like and subscribe on Jeff's channel.
The actual theory of tonight's show, regression, recovery, and you also have rebuy in there. So,
Yes. So the theory behind it is if one doesn't go your way, then you have to move to the next, and if the next one doesn't go your way, you're moving to the last one. So you just regression keeps you in the game. Recovery, some people like to do recovery, some people walk away, and then if you mess up both, then you're rebuying. So it's a 1, 2, 3 step. So we're going to try and talk about how not to get to number 3, right? Because that's
right.
the thing you don't want to do. But it's a 1, 2, and 3, and if you're in 3, then you're pretty much done. But we'll talk about that more on the show.
All right, so the floor is basically yours. We can go ahead and get the show started, and I take it we're starting with the regression portion first.
Yes. So we're going to start with the regression, but we're going to talk about a few things before that. I would like the show to be interactive, so if people in the chat are chiming in, what they do usually and stuff like that, let's talk about it. Reason being is that this is not a one size fits all. Everybody has their own way of doing things, right? And I know as soon as I say that, 5 minutes in, somebody's going to walk in the middle of the show and start talking about, well, that may work for you, it doesn't work for others. It always happens when somebody chimes in the middle of the show. But I'm going to go ahead and say that again. This is not a one size fits all. I'm going to give my opinions of what I do and what some people should do based on certain things. But at the end of the day, it's whatever is going on in the moment. And a lot of things depend on your buy-in, what money you have, your bankroll, and what the table what the betting on the table is. If it's a $10 table, $25 table. So we're going to jump right into it. I know Arnell, asked about this show, so I'm going to kind of veer it towards his type of play. So if you put up chats that I need to respond to, you're going to have to help me because the screen is way over there and I can't read them.
I'll help you. I haven't pinned any questions yet.
Because usually it's the other way around. Usually I'm on that side and my monitor is here, but my monitor is right next to me because I'm using the betting on the table. So so this is a long way from here.
No, I said that we would take some questions, and what we want people to do on this particular show is ask questions as we go along. I'll try to pin most of them up as we go. So if you're using asking a question, please put the capital Q in there, and I'm going to go ahead and put this one up here, and then I'm going to turn it back over to you, G. Let me put this chat up here from Arnell, who actually is the requester or the person who suggested tonight's episode. Regression, recovery, and hopefully we'll cover rebuys. He says, I usually never regress only because I start low and press, unlike start bigger and regress. But anyway, G, I'm going to switch the screen back over to you. And
so we're going to talk about that. We're going to, I'm going to talk a little bit about how I do things, and then I'm going to veer it into Arnell, and because I know a little bit about how he plays and stuff like that. And then we're going to center it. We're going to baseline it there, and then we'll move up and down the way any way we want based on the participants and the chat. So, to me, based on my play when I go in the mornings and play by myself, It's everybody knows it's 640 across for a few hits, 3, 4 hits, and then regress down. So I do a regression strategy. I don't have a recovery strategy, and I definitely don't have a buy-in. So to me, every session is its own. And what I mean by that is that if I go 640 across and I PSO or I PPSO, I try it one more time, and if that doesn't work, I take whatever money I have left and I walk. I don't sit there and try and recover because it means something's not working and I need to take a step back, think about what's going on. I may not go to another table. I may not play that morning. I may wait till the next morning or, you know, in the afternoon, I'll go find another table. So to me, for those types of play, there's no recovery. And there's definitely not a rebuy. The rebuy is another session. And the mentality, the mindset I have is like a race car driver. Um, if race car drivers, if they wreck during practice, and the pit crew fixes their car, when they go to the race, they're not thinking about what they did when they wrecked. They're thinking about the race. So my mentality is focused on if one session goes bad and I lose money, that's it. I don't count it. I come back and I start over. And I'm on a new session. Make sense?
No, it makes perfect sense to me, and I think you and I do things just a little bit differently. But this is
Yep.
your portion of the show, so I'll come
This
back and
is
ask questions as related to what
yeah.
you're going to teach.
Yep.
So,
So this is what I do now. If I'm with a group of people, like I've played, in Biloxi and stuff like that, my play is a little bit different. So I try not to put a lot of money there, um, so that I don't have to do a recovery session. But if I do have to do a recovery session, then I have a way of doing that. So let's talk about this for a second. There are two types of plays. Some people like to start slow and build up and take money as they go. Some people like to go high for a hit or two, go down, and then build up, right? Um,
right.
and some people like to go, full speed ahead, then torpedo. They just press, 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 never take anything, and all of a sudden the seven comes out, and they had thousands on and then maybe $100 in their chip wrap. That is not a good way to play, by the way. So um, both plays, starting low and coming up, or starting up, coming down, and then build back up, they're both fine. But they're all dependent on your bankroll and how much money can you risk on the table. And also, you have to think about, are you shooting the dice or are you betting on others, right? So you have to take these two into the equation. If I if I go 160 across, for example, on with a bunch of shooters and somebody PSOs, depending on my buy-in, if my buy-in was educate, I may go twice that amount for 1 or 2 hits and then regress down to 160 and then regress down to $30 6 and 8. That way I can recover my losses. So that's a form of recovery that I do. um, if the table, but I have to play in the moment. A lot of people don't understand what playing in the moment means. It means that whatever the table is doing, I make decisions on how I bet. Some people don't believe in cold table, hot tables. That's fine. That's their opinions. I, on the other hand, believe that there's such a thing as a cold table and a hot table. I won't play on a cold table because it doesn't make sense for me because I don't play the other side. But if it's a hot table and a few people PSO and hit me, at some point I'll recover based on my play because it is a hot table. Um, but I try to avoid these situations. Now we'll go to what Arnell is talking about, and Jeff, this is where you probably need to get my other scene so that we can talk a little bit
Okay.
about.
Sure.
Now,
Yeah.
I don't know what Arnell's starting play is, but let's say it's a $10 table in general, right? So if you go, you can go 96 across, right? So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, I'm sorry, 64 across to start off with. So you have 64 in play. That's if you have a short or a small bankroll, right?
Right.
Your options here, depending on how many numbers or hits you want to take, and what is the minimum that you're willing to risk. So risking 64 across out of the gate is the minimum, but with each play, your minimum, what you're gonna risk, should change. For example, if a 9 hits, right? You make 14, drop a dollar and give him 15. Okay? At that point, you don't have 64 in play, you have 50, right? Because you just made 15. So is 50 still a good amount for you to risk, or is that too much and you want to take down? I see I this guy that plays a lot in Cherokee. Every time I go there, he's there. I love the way he plays. He doesn't he plays higher limits, but the way he plays is first hit, doesn't matter what the hit is, he takes his 4 and 10 down. Okay? The second hit, if it's an inside hit, he takes his 5 and 9 down, and then he stays on the 6 and 8 for that shooter. And then all he does is presses the 6 and 8 and then takes the 6 and 8. And that's his play. And he's disciplined. He does that every single time. He doesn't change it, regardless of who's shooting. So that is his form of starting high and regressing, right? But his only method of regress is taking chips off. I've seen him go 640 across and then take chips off the 4 and 5. He doesn't go down to 160 across. So he sticks with that plan. I think that's awesome. That's great because that's the way he plays, and it fluctuates. He goes up and down, but at the end of the day, he's disciplined enough to where that's the way he plays. Um, Another method of playing is if you start small and then press. You gotta take some to the rack, right? You gotta make some money. So the way I look at things is every bet here has to pay mortgage before you press it. So let's say you're 64 across and a 9 hit. You collect 15 on the 9. 14 plus 1 for a dollar. I'm not going to do the dollar thing, but you correct 15. Okay? The next time it hits, you press the 9. Some people like to press the sister number. I don't do that. I treat each bet as its own, separate. When I'm playing not the 640 and down regressing, when I'm playing with others, each bet is its own bet at the table, and it has to make money, or I'm taking it down. Like if Ed's shooting, for example, and all he's doing is rolling inside numbers, there's no reason for me to keep the 4 and 10 up because they're not hitting. He's rolling inside numbers. I'm better off taking the 4 and 10 and pressing the 5 and 9 and then let them make money. That's called playing in the moment, right? Seeing what the table is doing and betting. But each bet I treat as its own. And that's why even you've seen me, Jeff, and on the private table when Stent Placer was rolling the 6s. I was pressing the 6. I wasn't pressing any other numbers except when they hit, because that bet is the hot one. That number is the hot one. and that's the one you press to make money on. Now, at some point, depending on where you are in the and in your bankroll and in the session, you need to think about when to take everything down and start back over, right? So if the bet is making money, if the 9 is making money, the 5 is making money, everything's making money, and now all of a sudden you have 150 on the 9 because it hit, and you have 300 or 500 on the 4 because it's been hitting, and let's say you have 250 on the 5. Okay, the roll has progressed. Hopefully you've made money. Greed is the biggest bankroll killer. Over the years, we've said this many times. If you don't remember anything I've said the entire year in all these sessions, remember this. Don't be greedy at the table. Greed is the biggest killer. If you see that even if the shooter is throwing numbers, you look at it and say, you know what? I can immediately make 5, 6, 7, 50, 8, 9, $1,000. I have $1,000 here. I can either wait another number so that I can get hit, or I have $1,000 right now waiting for me that I can take off the table and go back and put $10 here, $10 here, $10 here, and then make money from the beginning. If the roll gets longer, yeah, sure, you may have lost, but to me it's not a loss. I have $1,000 in my rack. It's not a loss. It's just more money and less money. But greed is the biggest killer. The reason why you see people walking out with empty pockets is because they kept their money here, hoping for one more hit, just one more hit on that number, just one more hit. So you gotta be, even if you start low, I know Arnell starts low and builds up. At some point, you gotta go back low, and then build up again. So those are the types of situations for me, how I play. I know you have a certain betting style, Jeff.
Well, I wanted to go back. First of all, let me tell the people in the chat that I'm queuing up your questions with a capital Q. So if you have a comment or something you want to draw attention to, please put a capital Q in front of it. If you look at the last chat, very similar to what Shooter Craps just did, or semicolon will work as well. So I've got a couple things pinned up. Well, I want to go back to that person you said played with the regression of the 410, 5-9, so forth, so on. Gee, the very last thing you said, I was just about to say something, but then you hit the nail on the head with the last thing you said, and that was somebody has to be disciplined to be able to do that. The problem that I see over and over and over again, somebody takes a 66 inside or a 110 or 160 across, and they never play it. They never play it the same way because they're timid and the table changes or whatever. But that guy that is taking down the 4 and the 10 and then the 5 and the 9 or whatever he's doing to get to the 6 and the 8 or whatever's up there, that's a system. You could even call it a strategy. That's just something that's played over and over again. And if he has the discipline to be able to do that at whatever level he is at, well, God bless him. And he's one of the very few people that actually can do that. I've done over the last 4 years. I've asked players that I don't know, hey, you did pretty good on that last roll. What kind of strategy you playing? Oh, I'm not playing a strategy. I'm just playing the way I play. And I said, well, you ever watch anybody on YouTube? And they'll name a couple people, and I'll say, well, what do you think of those guys? Oh, that's nice to watch, but all those systems and strategies that they do, they're too complicated for me. I just want to play the way I play. 99% of the people that I've talked to, play the way I want to play, and all these fools on YouTube that are putting out all these systems and strategies and so forth, they're nice ideas, but nobody plays them to a T. And I'm sure somebody in chat's going to say, well, I do all the time, and there's probably a small percentage. But that guy was a was a system player, and his recovery system we didn't get to. But the way that I play is typically, and I'll just start out. I went from 66, if you will, to 110 to 220 to 330 at times on the right table conditions with the right people. But it's 220, and then I'm down within 3 to 6 rolls. By that 6th roll, I'm at my base, whatever my base is. Could be 110 inside, could be 96 across, whatever I've decided in my head I'm going to play that day or on that shooter or at that time. I think you said something, playing in the moment. Then that's what I'm going to come down to. But I don't wait for 3 hits before I drop my bets down. It's first roll, point set. Second roll, I've got my bets out there. Something's coming down after that second roll and the third roll, so I'm down to base. And you know what? If I don't make any money, even though the guy's throwing outside numbers until I get the base and the 7 outcomes, that's okay, because I got down to my base what I was okay with losing on that shooter or that hand, if that makes sense.
It's that goal that you set for yourself. Now, there's a guy that I used to see in Vegas every now and then. I believe he's local. And he would go and find $10 tables, right? And here's what he did. He would start off with 64 across, okay? And then depending, you probably need to go to the
I'm
other
here.
screen.
Oh, I was going to go to the other screen. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Duh. I'll tell you what, this
That's okay.
producer, he sucks. Go ahead. There you go.
So he would start off with 64 across, and he did that religiously. Now that may be a system. I don't know. I don't know any of this stuff. I just know how people play, because I talked to him and I sat down and he said that that's all he does. So he would go across, and depending on which side, so he had a line here, and depending on which side hit, he would add $5 to his bet. If it's 8, 9, and 10. If it's 6, 5, and 4, he would put 5 on these. Okay? And then when it hits again, he would bet $5 and then put the rest in the bracket. And on the long roll, he made good money because,
Well, that once again, Is that are you talking recovery now, or is that just the way the guy played? Because if that's the way the guy played, that's nothing but a system or a strategy.
No, that's the way that that guy played.
Yeah.
And when he got a number to 50, adding 555, he would regress down to 10 and take the money and put it in his rack.
Oh, okay. I must have missed that part.
That was his regression.
I wasn't paying attention in class.
Yeah. So he would start with 64 across, and let's say the 9 hit. So he would drop $1, and he gets three red chips. So he will add 5, 5, 5, and then depending on the side, again he split it. 8, 9, and 10, he would do this on this side for 3. 4, 5, and 6, he would do it on this side.
I understand that, but that's just like playing 66 inside and hitting 21, dropping $1, take it to 22, or if the point is a 6, you can just say, press my inside by 17, and it works the same way. When we talk about regression and recovery, I think from a regression standpoint, we need to get to the point where somebody's got higher bets and how we're going to regress down, or if you start with higher bets and when you come down. This pressing up is another show.
Right. So with this guy, what I'm saying is that any number that gets to 50, he would go back to 10. So that was his regression strategy. Okay. Now, I already told you my regression strategy is on 640 across, then down to 160, and then bring back up. But that's because I have a bankroll that can do that. Some people don't. Another regression is some people start with 160 across, and then they regress down to depending if it's a $10 table, they'll go down to 640 across after the first hit or two. So you can make money doing that. You start with greens, right? and any two hits, let's say a 5 and 9 hit, you get 35 here, and you get 35 here. So you got 50, 60, 70, right? At that point, they take everything down, and they go to 640, 64 across. So, and now they go back up. So that is a good regression that I tell people to use it a lot if they want to start not too high, but not low enough to where they can't make any money. 160 across for 2 hits and then down to 64 across, you're pretty much playing with house money because you made $70. So you pretty much racked $6 in your rack, and now you're just playing with house money.
Well, one, I don't like the term house money because once they pay me, it's my money, whether I have it invested in a table or up in the rack. But no, I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying there,
It's
G.
money that you got from the house. So
no, I understand. There are a couple questions and comments here that I don't know if you want to cover them now or move on, but I have a point to make from a standpoint of regression because we haven't got to recovery yet, and we're going to move on to recovery here in the next few minutes if we take these questions. But from a regression standpoint, and I don't want to insult anybody by saying if you're a 66 inside player or a 96 across player at a $10 table, there really isn't much regression outside of taking your bets down, and then you can't make money, as you said, G, on one individual box number. But if let's just say that 66 player moves up to a 154 inside level. Now, if in case you don't know, 35, 5 and 9, 42, 6 and 8 standard bets that we all get to at one time or another. Well, you have some regression room. So 154, and my friend Clay plays this all the time. 154 inside. I forget. I think he takes 2 hits and then he's down to something. But you have some wiggle room.
You said 35, 5 and 9.
Yes. Yeah, 35, 5 and 9. And 42, 6 and 8. That's 154 inside.
Oh.
Yeah. Now, with me, I always play my 4 and 10s as a gambit, so don't pay attention to me when if I say I go 64 across. I mean, that's not like me, but yeah, so it's 154 inside. And this is at a $10 or $15 table. So at a $10 table, you could come down to 44 inside or 42 inside, whatever it is, and or 66 inside. You could come down to at a $15 table. But at a quarter table, even at a 154 level, you can come down to 110 inside, and you're taking $40 off the table in case those outside numbers are hitting before the actual for the bad number, the 7 comes, and I base all my play on I'm out of the hand or at my table minimum on roll 6, what I'm willing to lose. And then if the roll is over with, because I'm going with the probabilities, I think Amy put it in the chat a little while ago that the dice don't know anything. It's a 1 in 36, which gives you six rolls. But I am out of the hand, and if the hand progresses, you can always go back up. And then if you feel like regressing again, you can. There's a little bit of difference between do you regress back if it comes a long roll? Do you continue on? There's no need to regress, and that's a whole nother show. But that's what I was showing you. So go ahead, what you ever show there.
No, and you said it best. You said it best. If you're playing at a $10 table, then you have options to be a little bit higher and then come down. If you're at $25 table, you're pretty much 160 across, and the only way to regress is take money off the table, right? You have to. The other way to do it is start, higher. Maybe, instead of 160 across, you're 320, right? And then you take 2 hits and then go down to 160.
But see, you keep saying take 2 hits. What happens if they're throwing outside numbers? And none of those numbers are coming. And it's on roll 11, and you've only got paid 1 time, and you still got that money out there. That's what I'm trying. That's the difference between you and me, G. I think that.
I don't know what you mean outside numbers.
the extremes. If you're on a crapless, we're not on a crapless table.
We're
You
not, we're
know,
not talking crappers. We're not talking
no. That's what
crappers.
I'm saying. But so that's what I'm saying. The outside numbers would be, the 2 and a 3 and 11 and 12.
Right. Right.
And so you keep saying, I know.
You
I
know,
watched you.
you're still stuck. You're still stuck. You're waiting on your two hits. You're risking money because that's what you have your money invested in.
No, you're stuck. I'm not stuck because I've already come down because I regress every single roll. And once the hand is paid for, that's a different story. It's a whole different game now. And that's the difference between my losing 3.5 years ago and my winning today is because I get the hand paid for, or I'm down to what I'm willing to lose on the shooter in less than 6 rolls of the dice. Every single time. If you watch me roll on this table back here on a live show, I do it every single time. And the people in the app, they might be racking up all kinds of bucks. But with me, it's not just about how much I'm winning. It's about the amount of money that I did not lose.
I agree. But you've heard me say this before. Most rolls are going to be short rolls. What does that mean? That means that most rolls are going to be between the 5 and 7 rolls. That's the average. Okay? That's why my preference, and when I tell people, my preference is you start high for 2 rolls and then you take down. Because
no, you
you're
said
planning.
I said 2 rolls. You said 2 hits. Is it 2? Which one is it? You stay
Well,
for 2 hits.
Well, 2 hits. 2 hits.
Yeah.
2 hits. I say 2 rolls, but 2 hits, knowing that you're going to hit one of these numbers right here, right? And if it doesn't, you're staying there. And if you're now the shooter is all of a sudden, just confused and stuff like that, you turn your bets off. You're like, But you got to remember, I don't do a lot of betting on others, except if I know who they are. Most of the betting that I do is on me and some known shooters. So I have to kind of put my hat on of I'm going to bet on other, players, and the way, but still, it doesn't matter who's picking up the dice and throwing. If you're playing if you're playing the law of averages, most rolls are going to be short rolls.
Correct.
Every now and then you're going to get a long roll.
Thank you very much. No, I got that.
So
that's what I'm saying. Here's what Clay does, and I knew that he did it, but and he and I played the 154, but he's pretty religious about it. It's 154 inside, 2 hits. Tell the dealer to take you down to all green. Drop $12. You're at the 66 with profit, and up from there. And that's as simple as you can get it. But the question
Correct.
is,
Correct.
hold it. It's 2 hits. Where I'm doing it for 2 rolls or 3 rolls or whatever by the time 6 is there.
Okay. I see what you're saying. What you're saying. You regardless of what roll of the dice, 2 rolls of the dice and you're down. Regardless of whether you make money or not.
Let me make this simple. Let's just go 110 inside, and I'm going to have 10 or 15, whatever the table minimum is on the 4 and 10. It's my gambit. 110 inside. The point is a 10. Okay, so the point's a 10. Next row is a 12. That 110 is going to change somehow. Next row is a 3. That 110 is going to change somehow until I'm down to, in this case, because I'm using 110 as a level, which is typically my base. I'm down to, let's say, my base should be 96 across or 66 inside every roll. So they could keep throwing numbers, and I'm coming down versus your 2 hits. We got some good questions here, by the way, G.
Yeah. So let's finish this up real quick.
Sure.
Yes. Now I see what you're saying, but you also understand what I'm saying is that my money stays there until I collect what.
Yes, I know. I played with you. I know that's how you play.
Yeah. So I'm risking. Yeah. I'm risking it, but I also keep in my mind, even on my own play. You heard me say my SRR I want it to be 5. Even on my own play, 640 across, or 3 or 4, and then it's going down. It's not staying up. It doesn't matter if I'm hitting numbers, hard ways. It doesn't matter. The law of averages is you're going to get killed. Most rolls are short rolls, 5 to 7 rolls.
Thank you.
And if you get your mindset to that, and you build strategies around that mindset, that it doesn't matter who's shooting, it doesn't matter if the guy is throwing 65 rolls, the average roll is 5 to 7. You can build a regression strategy, and it keeps you in the game. You can be in the positive at that point,
Right.
and you don't
And,
have to go to the recovery. And so we're going to take a few
right.
questions and then go to the recovery.
Well, I'm going to work my way backwards a little bit because John has a good point here, and he's probably saying exactly what I'm saying. I'm going to read this for you because you can't see it, but he says, question, I think he's trying to draw my attention. Remember that if you regress to a playable level, you have already experienced a great profit, maybe 100%. Pull that move all 4 or 5 times and ignore the monster, and you will outpace most people. Spot
Correct.
on, John. That's exactly what I'm saying. And if that long roll comes, which happened to me when I was standing next to 10 Ton and Ed, who weren't on the table, the last day I was in Vegas last month, is I was able to experience somebody straight out shooting who knew how to bet. He knew how to bet as well, and it turned into a long roll. And although I was I came down to my minimum base. I was talking to those two and not paying attention. As soon as I geared in that this is becoming a long roll, I was up and off to the races. I was in for 1,000, out for 4,100. That doesn't happen enough. So what John says here is exactly how you make money at the table. All right.
Yes.
Questions?
And you got to remember, time at the table is your worst enemy.
Is your enemy.
And
Yep.
most of our viewers tend to go to the casino, a lot because they either have a home casino or they just travel. They're retired and they travel.
Or
So
when
I'm
they go to
basing-
play, they're there 8, 9, 10 hours at a session, and that's going to screw
Correct.
you in the long run
Correct.
every time. If you want to see a good article on what G just said, Heavy put out a good article on his Facebook page yesterday. It's a long read. I mean, a really long read. Just go out there and find Power Access Group. Read his post from yesterday, and it's excellent.
So that's why I'm gearing the conversation around the type of play of most plays are going to be short rolls. Are they going to be long rolls? Yes. Are you going to be there when they happen? Maybe. I don't know. But you're definitely going to be there for the short rolls and the sevens. So that's
Right.
why you got to protect yourself, regress, and it's not a race. It's a marathon. Okay.
Exactly. That's my saying.
Your money will build up over
Yes.
time. Over
Yep.
time, you're not playing an instant session. You're playing over time. Even with me, the way I play, I'm building up my bankroll. I'm playing over time, session by session, session by session, session by session.
All right.
So you
Let's
gotta
get-
be smart about that.
Let's get to some questions. And Dustin, I'm going to come back to your very first question, the one about the next session when we get into recovery. So bear in mind, but you're the second question I'm going to put up here, Dustin. The first question comes from Shooter Craps when he says, at what point do you decide to reduce? And I think that's a lot to be at what level you're at and what bankroll you have. There's a lot of circumstances there. What do you think to that, G? At what point do you decide, he said reduce, regress?
So it depends on if I'm in a recovery mode or a regression mode. If I'm in a regression mode, I reduce a lot at the beginning. 5 to 7 rolls, I reduce a lot, and then it builds up. And if the roll is continuing, then I already made some money. I reduce less because I'm risking more money out there because I'm comfortable with how much I played and how much I made. I'm going to say that again. You have to be every player on the craps table has to be comfortable in the amount of money they made on a certain shooter or a certain session, and then decide if they want to risk more or not. Like, I'm okay if I make 10% of my buy-in as profit. I'm very okay with that. Some people want to make 50%, so they risk more. But those tend to lose a lot more because they're going after the big banks.
What you said there with 10% of your buy-in is $300. 10% of my buy-in is going to be $120 to $150, and that's okay. I mean, if you set that goal, that's fine. But the idea that most people are buying in for $200, $300, $400, they want to see a $200, $300, $400, $500 return, and I'm not saying this because it's mathematically correct. you're going to lose more of that $200, $300, $400, $500 more times you go to the casino playing the way that you're playing. If you're playing for entertainment and educational purposes, you're on vacation, you have the money to lose. God bless you. I don't blame you. Have fun. Having fun. But if you go to the casino for a while, my friend and I, G and I, go to the casino, and a lot of the people I play with is to make money, not for the camaraderie of having party time and drinking beer around the table. I think that's a big difference between what we're talking about here as well.
Yeah, and most people, I mean, I've seen, I'm not going to say most people, but I've seen people that have insane expectations. They buy in for 500 and think that they're going to make $10,000. Okay.
Yep.
You're hoping to hit lightning in a bottle, and that happens once in a blue moon.
I was going to say that.
But they say, "Oh, you don't know me, man. I'll bet the bonus, and I'll walk in here with $20,000." Okay.
Let's not talk bonus. That's not today's session. Next question here from Dustin comes. You don't use a second. I thought it said you do. Do you use a second? I read that wrong.
Yes.
You don't use a second regression during a hand. Yes, I do.
Yes.
Yes,
both
I
of
do.
us. Yes, and I do. I use a second, a third, a fourth. Remember, the longer the roll, the higher the seven is coming.
Probability.
I don't know how to say that. The probability. So the longer the roll, the higher the probability that the shooter is going to hit a seven. And you have to make sure that you have the least of your money out there with the most wins in your rack. Now, how to do that? That's the sauce, right? If I had the secret sauce, I wouldn't be here. I would be, on my own island enjoying the sunshine. But you gotta walk that line. You gotta determine, when do I stop? When do I pull? You have to live in the moment. But understand that the longer the roll progresses, the higher the probability for the seven. Based on that, you determine when and if you regress.
Yeah, second, third, fourth time. I mean,
it
happens.
First regression, my first regression is huge. I want to take, I made a little bit of money. I'm going to take most of my money down and see how the roll progresses. That is how I stay positive. Is I take most of my money back in my rack, and I just build up on what I have.
All right.
I'm comfortable with the small wins.
Yeah, so I guess the answer to the question is yes, you can regress not only a second time, but possibly 3, 4, and 5 times. I don't think I've ever regressed that many. I know I've regressed 3 times in a hand, and one time it paid off that I said, oh, look, third time regression. Oh, look, there's a 7. Oh, I was the hero in that hand. And then, maybe the next time I didn't, and it goes on and it goes on and it goes on. But, it's the fact that you took the money. It's what John said a minute ago. You took the money off the table and you made good profit. Yeah. All right, here's a question I don't know we're going to spend a lot of time on, Pete, because there's some things that you go out there. He says, can you explain the play when Heavy uses where he bets 24 on a 6 and 8 and a 25 DP? Basically, that is a 6, 7, 8. You can't lose. Call it what you want, whatever you want to call it. It's whatever. But quick, G,
we're going to
30
cover
seconds.
That in the recovery. We're going to do that in the recovery. We're going to do that as part of the recovery play. So hold that thought. Whoever
all right, hold that thought. All right, next question. So what do you do when you get whacked on a short roll? What's the recovery?
All right, so
that's what I think this whole session is supposed to be about.
Yep. So, recovery mode. If you get whacked on the first 2 shooters, you have to go back in a recovery mode to where you're not playing aggressive, you're playing defensive. And you have to, at this point, start looking at the average and the math of the game. You have to. You can look and see what numbers the players are throwing. If all you see is 7s, then part of your recovery is a don't play. It has to be, because the 7 is being rolled a lot. Now, does it mean that it's going to stay rolled a lot? Maybe, maybe not. But you're living in the moment. You're playing in the moment. But to me, when I go to a recovery, I go down to the math of the game, and the math of the game says that the 6 and 8 has the highest probability of being hit. Okay, so I go to a 6 and 8.
Thought you said we were going to cover that in recovery.
Yeah, this is recovery. This is recovery. So
Oh, I got questions
what I
still
do.
on the regression, but go ahead. You said we were going to
Oh,
cover that in
I thought
recovery.
you wanted to move to recovery.
No, no,
I can wait.
we got some more
I can
questions here.
wait. I can wait.
That's why I said we
I
should
can
come
wait.
back to
I'll go
that.
back. I'll go
Yeah.
back. Keep on the question. I'll
I
go back to
mean,
that.
because you kind of combined Arnell's question with Pete's question, and Arnell's
Yes.
question is, on the short roll, what is the recovery? Now, were you covering that, or did I get confused? You went back to the 6 and 8.
No, no, no. I was gonna start covering that, but if you have more questions on regression, then let's stay on regression. It's up to you. You're the driver.
Well, just here's somebody asking. Clay's asking just a question. Roll out a $15 table and show us the recovery. And I don't know that we have actually specific time to do that in today's show, Clay, but that would be interesting concept to be able to do. And I missed a question somewhere here. Gee, I apologize. I'm going back trying to look for the question. And let's just move on to the recovery phase now, and I'll come back to the question. I may
Okay.
have cleared it out of the queue.
So let's say you bought in for $500 and you went, across for 160 and you got whacked. All right. And now you're looking at a couple $100 left in your pocket, and it's a $25 table. All right. The way I do it is I go to the 6 and 8, and this is where I will live until I've recovered my money. All right. I don't care what numbers are thrown, and I don't press. I don't press. I wait for the $30. The 6 hits, you get 35. The 8 hits, you get 35. I got $70, right? At that point, I take all my money and I wait for the next shooter. So I put 160 across and I got whacked. I got $70 back. So I need to do that one more time. If I can do that one more time, where I go 30 and 30, and I collect 70 and 70, and I take it down, I have my 160 back. I recovered it. Okay? That is my recovery method. Heavy's
say-
recovery method. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Let's stay where you are. But is that your recovery when you're doing 640 inside, and you just
No.
got whacked for 640?
No, no.
Well, so what
No,
level
this
was
is-
that
this
6
is-
and 8 at 30?
No, this is when I'm playing with others. If I put
No,
640,
yeah.
if I in the morning session,
I want to make sure that the viewers understand that when you play with G and he's playing with people that he knows private table situation, or he's playing alone, he plays differently. And what he just showed you, I have seen him do that on a table where there's people around that he either doesn't know or we're there to have a good time, but he doesn't want to sink a lot of money in there. But I have seen. Okay, I'm good on that.
yeah. Remember, in 640, if I get whacked twice, I'm bye bye. I go and Starbucks. There's no recovery. There's no rebuy. That session has ended for me, right? But if I'm playing with a bunch of people, and I think that I'm down a whole bunch, I either walk away, or if I want to just stay there to be social and stuff like that, so I go into 6 and 8. Now, if there are a few DIs on the table, like if Ed's on there, I know Ed hits a lot of 5 and 9s. I may do a 110 inside for a few hits, and then go back to the 6 and 8, simply because I know he's doing a 5 and 9. But you have to, for a recovery, you don't have a choice. For a recovery, you have
It's
to.
it's a
you have
grind,
to
as
stay-
Arnell says. It's a
It's a
grind.
grind. It's a grind.
Yep.
Exactly. It is a grind. So now, why not grind from start until you're in green? It's because you have the option at that point. You don't have to. You only, there are grinders out there, and they're disciplined. I know 2 people that live in Vegas, and I've known them for years, and even up to today, that's all they do. 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. No, I'm sorry, Sunday through Thursday. they go to a different casino and they want to make $100 and then walk out. And they do it successfully because they sit there and they grind on a $5, $10 table. They grind. And when I say grind, I mean that they buy in for $1,000 and they go like this until they make that $100 and then they walk. That is the most boring way to play to me, but that's how they do it. Why grind? What now? Arnell is saying, why don't you just start like this, and then, when you're in the green, make the other play. The reason why you don't want to start like this, Arnell, is because if the 7 hits you, or not the 7, but if the roll is extending, people are hitting those numbers and not these. You're not making any money off of it. Now, if your goal is to make 1 or 2 green chips and that's it, walk away, that is the way to do it.
That's not what we're talking about. Yeah, but that's not what this show's about.
Yeah, there are strategies out there that tell you play the field, play this, play that. But if your goal is to make 1 or 2 chips and walk away, I know John talked a lot about some time ago, and people were laughing at him, but
I got what you're saying. You mentioned John, and he puts exactly what you're getting ready to get to. Question: lose 160, then live at the 6 and 8 until I recover my money. Why not start with just make 160? I always ponder this: is if your recovery is so solid, why not make it your primary play? And it's a very valid point, because if you don't have a recovery system, which is part of tonight's topic of the show, okay, maybe you'll learn a little bit. And if you do have a recovery, well, maybe it works for you, maybe it doesn't. However, the John, the way he says is that, why don't you just play that way from the start? And with me, John, if I'm doing 220 and I'm coming down to 110 or 330 to 110, 154, whatever it is that I'm coming down to, I'm risking, and this is where we all are at the table for, I'm gambling, as G said. I have an option to start higher. And if you get hit or whacked and you don't have a deep pocket like G does, or maybe another bullet in the system the way that I have, for one more time, that's the way it goes. And then somebody put it in the chat a minute ago. I think it was Mark Mad Hatter said, and if it doesn't work, just don't get mad. Just leave and come back another day. So that's a good question, John. A very good question. And it's probably something that we could get 10 people around the table and we'll get 12 answers as to what it
exactly.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you, most people do not start with a recovery because they don't have to. They're not in that position yet. Most people will go in to a table and they say, I'm gonna start with my regular play because I don't need to be in recovery. The reason why some people have a recovery system is because they are out of money. They have no choice. They have to put a $30 6 and 8 because they don't have any more money left. They have to dig into their pocket and rebuy if they want to bet more. So they have no option. There's no option for them.
And as Ed says here, are you there to win money, or are you just there to be on the table? And that just to be there on the table is party atmosphere. And I don't care whether I lose my $300, $400, or $500. I'm here to have a good time. But and I do agree, and that's the difference of a caliber of player, of somebody who wants to do party time or somebody that wants to make money. And you could if you just go to the casino twice a year on vacation and you want to party, that's fine. But you should be going to make money and enjoy yourself. But
and that is the $1 million question right there that Ed asked. You've heard me say this a long time ago, or many times, that I have play money, right? I have my own play money. I use it on slots and stuff like that. When I used to go to Vegas, part of my, if I'm sitting at night in the room bored and stuff like that, my wife's not there with me and stuff like that, I take my play money, $200, $300. I go downstairs, and all I do is I play a $15 fast line because I just want to sit at the table and talk to people and watch people walk around, and I don't care if I win or lose that money. That money I don't care about because I'm there just to have some companionship with others because I'm bored in the room. Some people say, man, you don't care about the money. No, I don't. That is my play money. I have play money that if it's gone in one swoop, I don't care. If it's gone in multiple swoops, I don't care. I have my bankroll
And
money that I care about.
yeah, and that's that whole play money is a different topic for why we're here, because Jen actually says,
Correct.
does
But
G recommend trying to do a recovery in a single shooter or spread a little late? The trouble is back-to-back dingers, and we covered that just a little while ago. Is that it takes multiple shooters, depending
yes,
upon any level of trade, it takes multiple shooters to recover. I think I said that right. You take
yeah,
multiple.
it takes
Yeah.
multiple shooters. Now, I'm going to go ahead and show you what the best recovery system is. I don't play that because it involves something, but if I was to recommend, and you know me, I'll recommend things to people even if I don't do it simply because I think it's just the right thing to do. The best recovery system is what Heavy talked about, which is a um, if it's a $10 table, it's a $24 6 and 8 and a $25 don't on the don't pass.
It's a 6, 7, 8, and one hit
It's a
can't
six,
miss. I
seven,
mean,
eight.
whatever you want to
Yes,
call it.
yes.
I mean, so
And
yes.
and here's the thing. Here's the thing. If you get dinged, out of the gate on it, you raise it up one for one hit to recover one of them, and then go back down to the minimum. Did I lose you?
No, you're here. I was reading.
Okay.
No,
So
you're here.
so if it's a $10 table and you do a $12 6, $12 8, and a $25 don't, and let's say you know the shooter sevens out, you get your $25 on the don't, and then you lose your two, go up to 50, 24 and 24 for one hit on the 6 and or the 8, and then go back down to the 12-12. Because if you stay down at that level, you may be at even for a long, long time, because the
Well,
table goes like this.
let's give the viewers just a little bit of I don't want to say knowledge or advice, because maybe it's not. It's just the way that we think. The name of the show is Regression Recovery, and we haven't got the rebuy, and I don't know that we are, but we are at the recovery standpoint. So from we've moved on from the regression, and that didn't work, and now we're trying to recover our money. So from a standpoint of the best advice you can give somebody, other than play single numbers or a couple of numbers and move on, is there any other type of recovery system that you have when you buy in for your $3,000 and you get hit a couple times on 640? What do you go to? You don't go to a $30 6 and 8. What I was asked a little while ago. What level are you at when you're trying to do something? Now, don't tell me. I know what you're going to say. You're going to walk away from the table and come back. But what is the actual recovery for G if that happens?
If that happens, I go on the 6 and 8, but I go like 120 each. If I got because that's where the money is going to be. I go at that 120 level, because if I go 640, and I usually don't put 640 across on when it's a table. I usually want 160 across. So if I get, but if I was to play 640 on myself on a crowded table, and I get dinged, I ding myself, then the next shooter I just do 120 and 120 and get one hit, and then go down to the minimum. And so what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make my money $100 at a time.
That's what I'm saying. You're trying to make that money back. It doesn't you don't make it on the next shooter. You don't. And somebody put that terrible M word in the chat here, martingale. Martingale is not a recovery system. I don't care how many YouTube shows you watch. I don't care what book you read. Martingale is not a recovery system. Somebody, let me grab this chat real quick here. Where did it go? Oh, Shooter Crap says, I don't have a recovery strat. Okay,
Strategy.
we're not.
I use a stop loss.
I didn't want to use that word. I want to say strategy because I don't know that's it. I use a stop loss, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. If you have a
No.
stop loss and you don't want to recover that day, that's what we said earlier in the show. It's your next session. Go move on to your next session.
And you said I don't want to hear about you walking away, but you know that I have a stop loss.
Yes,
and
you do.
that-
You do.
And when I hit that stop loss, it's no longer recovery, and I'm not reaching to rebuy. I'm walking away. I have a stop loss, and everybody that played with me, whether it's your 11, everybody, hey, I hit my stop loss. I'm walking away. That's why that I have a stop loss in the morning. If I get dinged twice, 640, I bought in for 5,000. I lost 1280. That is my stop loss.
Well, you
That is
have a
my
couple
stop.
other stop losses that don't include money, but that's a whole nother show why you will get up and walk away from the table. But Ed says
Yes.
the best recovery is to put your money in your pocket. No loss is interest gained. And that is a profound statement, and maybe I'm reading into it too much, Ed, but I've never heard you say it that way before, Ed, but that makes a hell of a lot of sense. I'll read it to you again, G. Best recovery is to put your money in your pocket. No loss is interest gained. And that's what I meant earlier in the show. When I haven't played lately, haven't lost any, but I also haven't won any.
Right. But that's why I recommend. I know people, sometimes they can't afford it. They don't have the bankroll for it. But if I was to advise somebody that if you have the money for it, you start high, get to collect twice, and then regress down. The best way not to be in a not to get into to be in a recovery zone is not to get into a recovery. If you do this, you won't have to recover. Now, PSOs happen. PSOs happen. At that point, you just need to walk away. But a lot of people are not going to do that because they're going to sit there on the table. They're going to put up a tent. They're going to set a little bit of fire. They're going to have little marshmallows, and they're going to sit there for 10, 12 hours because they are degenerate gamblers and they have to be at the table. And those gamblers, most of the time, will lose money because time at the table is the worst thing that you can do. Hit and run is the best play. Make your money and get that puck out.
Yep.
That is my best advice.
You did say puck with a P.
Puck with a P. Yeah, I'm saying puck with a P.
PG says in his system, you always have more in the rack than on the table, even when you got to table max. And I understand that's what you call bankroll management, money management, and also the mindset to know what you're doing. And the average new player or the average player that is losing all the time, that's one of the things that you're missing out of your play, your table play is mindset and to be able to know these things that we've talked about today, which we kind of like got off key here, G, with regression, recovery, and I think that we may not cover it all. And to D8, my good friend Matt, your challenge of doing that in the app CRAPS is fine. Let's both take $2,500 to the table, and I want you to martingale every single time that you lose. I want you to martingale, and then we'll see at the end of that session who has more or less money. Could be that your martingale worked out, but I'm telling you, mathematically.
Well, what number?
Hold it, G. Hold it. Mathematically, your martingale is going to lose every single time. In CRAPS on an app when the session's over with, sure. I would say that that's possible to martingale, but let's both bring $2,500. We'll play at a live table. You martingale every single time when the hand is over with, or whatever happens, and let's do it. Oh, he says 6K. Deal's on. I'll come down to Cherokee with 6K, and we'll do that. D8. That's a bet, and we'll take side bets.
I can meet him on your behalf with 6K, but what are you martingaling? Are you martingaling the line? Are you martingaling a field bet? What is it that? What bet are you martingaling?
Well, martingale the field bet's that's another gambit. No, I'm pretty sure I know how he plays.
Martingale. You say martingale,
well,
right?
he plays a hybrid system. Gee, hold on. He plays the hybrid system the majority of the time, so he's got a martingale both sides of it. Otherwise, it's not a fair comparison. You don't always just play the the light side D8. But in any event, let's move on with the show. I just want to get that in because I'm having comments come in with side bets coming out now as to who's going to win and who's going to lose. So let's go ahead and continue. So I hope we covered the regression. We're into recovery. We've talked about how you recover. Some people on here say how they have recovered. Is there any questions before we get on to the rebuys? And we've got to take the qualifiers for G's Jackets tonight, and we've got to give away the mug and the placemat. So let's make sure we get all this covered. Any questions, please use a capital Q when you're asking, and I ask you to please do that because there's a lot of comments coming by that I don't know. There is no amount of time on shooters, D8. It's until one of us is broke. That's all we got to do. So one of us is broke, that's over with. If it takes us 10 hours to get there, that's fine, which I don't like playing at the table that long. But it's till when one of us is broke. So one of us is going to win a little bit of money, and the other one's going to lose $6,000. It's one or the other. Anyway, yeah, I agree, Arnell. So rebuy, G, how do we move into rebuy?
Rebuy. My best advice is don't do it, because if the session is that bad that you have to rebuy, the chances are you're going to lose whatever money you're going to rebuy with, because it's going to continue. It's a continuation. So I put it there to say that my best advice is do not rebuy, you walk away. Now, if you want to rebuy, my suggestion is rebuy for the half amount that your initial buy-in was, and then immediately go to the recovery. But again, it did not work with the money you had left. There's nothing to say that it's going to work with the money that you're putting in. I used to play poker, as you well know, right? And we had a saying in poker: there's no sense of putting good money in a bad pot. If it ain't working, just walk away, man. Live to fight another day. Live to fight another day. So I put rebuy in there next to the guy with the pockets, because if you rebuy, you're going to be like that guy. Empty pockets. Just walk away, go get a strawberry shake, go get a latte, go get a muffin, whatever. Come back and fight another day, because the next hour, the next morning, the next day, things could be flipped and you could make all this money back and some more. That rebuy, I covered it in like 10 seconds, right?
Well,
just like that.
No, and a lot of people might come with 1,500 in their pocket and pull out 500 increments. And if you come with this is John's philosophy. If I come with 1,000, I'm willing to lose 1,000. I don't come with that philosophy because you might be at the table at the wrong time, and it just might not be your time to be there. And you could always take half of that 1,000 and leave and move away. But my point on rebuy is I am going to end my session. I'm going to depart from the table. I'm going to go do something, whether I come back that day or not, that night or whatever, and I'm going to come back. Typically, when I'm with everybody in Atlantic City, we play several sessions a day, morning, afternoon, night, and then before dinner, after dinner, and so forth, late night. So if I lost that first session, I'm gone to the poker room. No, just kidding. I'm gone, and then I'm going to come back another session. That previous loss is gone, and I am not going to try to make it up in that next session. I'm not going to try to make up the money that I lost in the previous session on that next session. It's done, said, over with, kissed it goodbye, and that's it. Yep. If I have a long roll on the next session or the following session after that, great. If I recovered that first day or that first session loss, that's okay. But I don't particularly care to rebuy. Whatever I'm coming out on the table with, typically now, it may be as low as 800 at some of the tables here that are now $5 and $10 tables, and that's just to play fun. And I go more to throw dice.
And this is what separates the disciplined players from the degenerate gamblers that they need help because they're addicted gamblers. I never walk away. Never. When I say never, I mean never. Not one time have I walked out of the casino with $0 in my pocket. I know where to stop. I know when to stop. Because I've been there.
Yeah, Jen says here that she never rebuys only when she's on tilt, and that's another point that's a whole nother
That's the worst
mindset.
time to rebuy.
Yeah, it is. It is a worst time. But if you're on tilt, Jen, you don't need to be there. And I know sometimes you include your bubble craps as part of your sessions because I've seen you stick in 500 and take out $1,500 in 15 minutes, like 6 times in one day. That's different than us at the table, doing what
Let me
we're
comment
doing.
on what Jen just said, okay? And I'm going to take it out of the craps context into life. When is forcing the issue has ever worked for anyone in anything? Period. My
No.
experience is if you force the issue at any given time, it has never worked for me for anything I'm doing, whether it's an argument with my wife, whether it's something that I'm doing with my car, even on the track. I tried to force the issue one time when I was at Road Atlanta in a car, the previous car that I had. And I ended up in the kitty litter because I forced the issue. And I had to pay $350 for the tow truck to tow me out of the kitty litter. If you are mentally there or not there and you're trying to force the issue, you're going to lose money. You might as well take the money and say, here, dealers, you keep it, I'm walking out. And by the way, if that's the case, then I'll play the don't. It doesn't matter what you play, you're going to lose the money because it's not appropriate time. You're forcing the issue, mentally you're not there. Who was it? Was it you or Ed when, not this last time, but the time before that? I think Ed wasn't feeling well and he came down and he didn't play. We were there playing and we were on good road.
It was in May.
And I believe he's just like, you know what? I just need to go get me something to eat. My sugar is low or something like that. He did not force the issue. That guy, people need to look at him. I look at him as a role model because sometimes he's not disciplined, but most of the times he is. He could have just stood there and bought in and made money off of other people's gold. Mentally, he wasn't there. He kept on walking. He kept on walking. And as a matter of fact, Jeff, you and I and a few others, we colored up and went and met him for breakfast. If
Yep.
you're not mentally there, you're not. We had conversations about that, right? We've had sessions about that. Even on so you think you know craps. You have to be mentally there. If you're not there, then you're going to lose money. And so I go to rebuy. Do not rebuy. Do not rebuy. That's the best advice I can give you. I put it there because a lot of people do it, but my best advice is you walk away. Live to fight another day. I don't care if you're there. I told the story. I've driven 2.5 hours to Cherokee to play craps. I walked by, the table was full. I went to the slot machines. I won $500 on a slot machine. I walked by the table was full. I got in my car and I drove 2 hours and 2.5 hours back. Drove 5 hours, never touched the dice. You know why? Because my money's in my pocket and the casino's still there. I can go there tomorrow, next week, next month, next year.
Here's a question. I think we covered it from a guy that was at the Brownwater Bash in May. Question: do you add session one's loss to sessions two start roll? Absolutely, without a doubt, no. Your loss,
No.
if you walked away from the table, is kiss it goodbye. It's gone. It's if you have that mentality, you're always chasing your losses everywhere. In any gambling session that you have. I don't care if you call it a years-long session, you're always chasing your losses. You're always just going to have that in your mind, and your mindset will not be where it needs to be.
So I don't want to pick on Arnell, but I'm going to pick on him. And Arnell, if I need to call you and apologize for what I'm about to say, I will call you and apologize. But when he mentioned why not start with the recovery, it's because Arnell kind of puts his sessions together. And this, and I'm not going to say it's okay, but that's just how he plays, right? And maybe this person that just did that post in the chat didn't hear what we said earlier, which is your loss is a loss. Just like a race car driver, again, if you wreck and during practice on Saturday, when in NASCAR, when you get on Sunday, you get in the car, you can't be thinking about, oh my God, I wrecked, I need to slow down. If a race car driver sits there and says, I need to slow down, he doesn't belong in the car, because you're there to race and win. You got to go fast. So if you're sitting here playing with scared money because you lost, and you're in a recovery session, you're playing with scared money, you're going to lose it. You're going to lose it. Every session is in the past.
Yeah, let me make this comment. There's the password for tonight. If you want to qualify, we're going to be taking 5 qualifiers here in just a few minutes. The system is up and running, so make sure you use the word qualify. Very simply, QUALIFY. I guess I need to apologize too, because I don't want my good friend D8, who I highly respect and like. His name is Matt. I don't want to upset him because I'm looking at the chats. We've got everything from game on to challenge to somebody offering to host and so forth. And I guess I might have been a little bit arrogant with my talk. But a martingale system, it's my opinion, Matt, and I understand what you're doing because you and I and a few others like Kevin from Las Vegas, Blue Jay Way, when we use that app, when somebody's rolling out like Brian or whoever's using the system, Joe in the morning, we're playing like we normally play, or trying a system that we would like to see if it works on the app. But taking 500 or 6,000 or whatever we said in the chat to the casino and playing for the long haul till one of us is broke, I think was my point. And I know that you would not do that. You would not take $6,000 winner takes all type thing, because neither one of us are going to get the money. The other casinos will get the money, and we don't want to give it to them. But I just want to clarify that. So right now, there's the chat. And if you missed what was happening, back up about 20 minutes ago. But we're good. I had another comment up here, G, that I wanted to put up here. Where is it? Going back to your session, Jen wants to know what's next level if you lose on level 2 also 75 DP or 100 DP. Well, you don't play the don't pay. I don't understand what you're saying there, Jen, but I think she was asking, do you change that 120 if you're 640? Do you change your 120 to something else? Either a bet up or a bet down?
No.
A bet up would worry me, but...
Yeah, no, because if it's not working on the 120, you definitely don't want to go to 240, because it ain't working. I believe it was Einstein that said that the theory of doing the same thing, expecting a change, is the whole definition of insanity, right? So, if it's not working, why would I want to put more money in there? Now, Heavy recommends the $12 6 and 8 with a quarter don't. I've seen people,
but that's at a much lower level.
That's on the low level, right?
Yes.
I've seen people change it up to, like, they're trying to hit they take it up a notch, trying to get one payout and then take it down so that they can get that quarter in their rack, because that's what they want. They want that $12 or $24 or whatever it is. That's their whole. They want to make 4 of these and walk away. They want to make $100. I've even seen some people, take it up a notch. So, like, after that they go 48. I'm sorry, 42 with $100 on the don't, or something like that. Whatever that next level is. And then if it hits, they go down all the way to 12 and 25. It's just the way they play. A friend of mine, I don't know if he still plays like that or not. I haven't talked to him in a long time, but he always used to tell me that he would go 96 across. 64 across. And if a PSO hit, then he would go up to 128, right, across, for one payout, and then he'll go back to 64 across. No, I'm sorry. I did the math wrong.
You did. No, you were confusing me.
He would go up to whatever the 64 payout is for one hit, and then go back to whatever. I can't do math. It's been a long day, but whatever that next level collects 64 or he would go up like really high for one payout to make his money back in one swoop, and then go back to 64.
And who is it does this? The guy that was pulling the 4 and 10 and 5 and 9,
No,
or
no, no,
somebody
no,
else?
no, 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 no. Just somebody that I used to know, but I haven't talked to in a long
Okay, yeah,
time.
because
Um,
if you go back to the infancy of my craps channels, there's some videos out there. You're going to see a lot of dark play, and then you're going to see this thing that I call picking. So what I do, and I've shared this with Lou before, is let's just say I go 96 across, and I'm going to answer. I'm going to answer your question here, shooter craps, in just a second. I go 96 across, and then the next row I pull either the 4 or 10 down, one or the other, and it goes into the field. And yes, I said field. I don't play it that often. And then I come down to the only thing that I have less. It's called a picking strategy. The only thing that I have less is a 6 and an 8. And by the time I have got all the bets down and don't even have a 5 out, I'm running an iron cross without a 5. Is that I'm building the 6 and the 8 up, and then I'm spreading back out. Now that's a whole different type of play, and we're talking systems versus strategies. So to answer to answer. Shooter craps question, Jeff, do you have a recovery plan? I do, and it is I am increasing my starting bets by 1 unit, whatever that may be. I don't play black level, so you don't have to worry about that. 1 unit, and when I take a hit, I'm like, gee, I come down to the table all the way down, and I have waited a couple rolls, I have waited a couple shooters before I repeat that session. So when I'm up at 330, I now have 440 inside. So you can see with the money that I'm making, and I pull all that down. Sometimes I just say turn off, but after several rolls, the box person will make them take those bets down. Even though they're off buttons on them, when the chips are that high, they don't want to see that on the table. They'll make them take it down. But even after a shooter, they'll take it down. But that's my recovery system, and I used to have a pucker factor shooter craps that I would like to go 2 hits. And I found out that waiting for 2 hits, not 2 rolls, 2 hits was burning me too much. So I just take a chance and bring it down. It's that's just the way that I do it. I'd have to show you, and so that's to answer your question.
Now, I do want to say something. And if you have a weak heart, a weak stomach, or if you're on some kind of antibiotic, hold on tight, because of what I'm about to say. If you're somebody that likes to stay on the table for a long period of time,
Here it comes.
your best play, doesn't matter whether you're in regression, recovery, your best play is a hybrid system on both the do and the don't. Yes,
6,
I
7,
did say
8.
the do and the don't.
1 hit can't miss. Blah blah
6,
blah.
7, 8, because that's going to keep you in the game. And yes, G did say the best play is a hybrid if you're going to stay on the table for a long time, because you're it's a balance act. You're winning a little bit, losing a little bit, winning a little bit, losing a little bit. At some point the roll is going to materialize, and you may say, you know what, I'm going to take my money off of this and bet, and then when you get it, you take it and you run. So that's best advice I can give for long term players.
Let me find something from Arnell. I think he summed it up pretty well. I'm looking for it, Arnell. I thought I pinned it. I might have to go back. Damn, I did not pin that. Now I got to go back and scroll. Here it is. I got it. All right. So Arnell says, to sum it up, most of us risk more a couple hits than regress. Recovery is bet couple numbers, higher level, and grind. So you've got, let me read that again. It keeps skipping around on my screen, guys. I apologize. To sum it up, most of you risk more couple of hits than regress. Recovery is bet a couple hits and let it out. And
Correct.
grind. I don't grind. What I was just talking about, Arnell, was if I don't get paid a couple bigger numbers a couple of times, my session's over with. I'm done. I'm ready to go. And
Yes.
is eat,
but
but
the people that stay at the table, and for recovery, I'm going to say 10 out of 10. It's a grind. You have to climb back the mountain slowly. It is a grind.
Yep.
So you're absolutely
it's just like playing in poker. I mean, the poker is a grinding game. I mean, it just is. I don't care even if you're winning, it's still a grind to do
Think
that. Let me
about
see if I
it.
can
Think
find.
about it. If you're short stack, you can't play the cards that you usually play because you can't defend and you can't psych people out. You're playing defense all night long if you're short stack until you can put them in a hand and hope to win and then be up there. So it is a grind. Short stack is a grind. So it's the same concept.
Yeah.
I know I
And
played short stack.
skill. I'm going to give skill the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to put this up here because this is more or less a strategy or a system. And it's kind of hard for you. I'll read it for you, G. He and I have played this many times live. 3.5 years ago, late at night while he was working when he should have been driving. The wise guy's progression is 198 inside, pays 63. After one hit, drop 3, make it look like 264 inside. After the next hit, wins 84, by the way. After next hit, you drop 4, take it to 352 inside. It pays 112. You drop it down to 110 inside. You got profit. You got a starting base to be at, and everything's hunky-dory. The problem with that is every roll of that dice, if you're not hitting those numbers, you're waiting. Because if you're playing the inside, you only have 18 of those numbers, 50% chance of hitting those numbers. And that's why, I know what Skill is saying here. That's the reason why I'll take Skill's philosophy, take me up to 330, come down to 220. 220 comes down to 110. And if I haven't made any money at 110, then it's 96 across, or I'm just going to stay at the 110 level because I'm risking that. Now that depends also on my pass line bet, especially if there's a bonus out there. We don't want to talk about bonus. I'm going to have a pass line if there's a bonus, and then my come out action that's there. So there's a whole philosophy of work in progress here. And Caveman, you asked the question. Does the 6 and 8 work on the come out through the DC on the 6, 7, 8? No, you can play it that way, but to my knowledge, the way that I played it and seen it play, the 6 and 8 doesn't play. You're sticking your DP out there. You do have the chances to lose on the come out, but once that's set, you're favored on the DP, and the 6 and 8 are favored on the light side, and that's why they call it, once you get the point set, 6, 7, 8, you one hit can't lose, and so forth and so on.
And that's where the if you get knocked out on the dome, it goes to 50. Max has been full of wisdom lately. Yes, he has, Jen. Yes, he has. I need some of that wisdom.
Oh. This is a good point from John here because we got to get some giveaways. Everyone on YouTube is in the business of overthinking everything. Keep it simple, whether you prefer 6 and 8 on the pass line parlay or just do your thing and bet the variant. You missed the beginning of the show to complexity. That's true. And what John's saying is that we have so many gambling channels, so many craps channels now that are telling you how to play, and there are several of them that are educational, saying here's a way you can play, here's a different way you can play. And Whalen's one of the ways that you can look at all these different ways to play, whether you like the system or not. Or it's one thing. He's just showing you thousands of ways to play, and he really does have the books. I named Whalen that the books of Whalen. But in any event, John's got. We're overthinking everything, and what we're trying to do on this show, and most of the shows I do with people, the ones I do with G, the ones I do with Ed, the couple other guests that I've had on, is that we're trying to educate you on get out of that fallacy that you're always going to win, and you're going to take 300 to 3,000 or 500 to, as you said, 5,000. We're just trying to say this game is hard, and there is a way that you can maximize your potential by minimizing the risks that you have involved and understanding which direction to take, including if it's leaving the table with your head held down because you lost.
Yep. Just like I say for dice tossing, find the toss that you want, master it, play it, and make it your own, and then throw it. I will say the same thing for how you play at the craps table. Take whatever strategy, whatever system, whatever recovery, whatever, make it your own, regardless of what people think about it. Make it your own and stick to it. A lot of the stuff that we talk about is common sense. like walk away when things are not happening and stuff like that. That's common sense, right? But when it comes to strategies, when it comes to systems, find one that works for you and stick to it. I I I I, I see people that try 12, 15 different strategies and systems, you
At
know,
one session.
for 10 shooters in one session for 10 shooters.
Yeah.
All you're doing is, you know, you're just flushing your money down the drain. You stick with something, and if it's not working, just walk.
Look,
Oh,
I,
I'm
I,
gonna do this. Oh, I'm gonna do that. Oh, I've seen people change strategy on the same shooter for
I,
whatever reason, and they're losing
I'm
money.
going to.
And I'm building chips. And I look and I'm like, how can you be losing when I'm winning? I mean, it doesn't make. I mean, it's the same shooter. We're sitting there, but overthinking stuff is you're gonna end up going nuts, going like this, hyperventilating at the craps table. Just keep it simple. Sometimes, you know what? You just gotta keep it simple.
Yeah,
Sometimes
it's
you just
called
gotta,
it's called the KISS syndrome. Keep it simple, stupid.
you know,
Yep.
if you're
Well,
confused about what to do, play the 6 and 8.
let me say this, G, because you've been playing a long time. Ed's been playing a long time. I played with a lot of good, experienced players, including starting locally here with a couple friends in the Atlantic City group. Started out with Clay in my backyard and moved out to all these guys in Atlantic City. We brought in a lot of those guys that were always at Atlantic City and always losing. In the AC group, they seem to be winning more often. And you don't have to take a class. You don't have to watch G's in my show or Ed's in my show or any other show, John's show or Joe's show. You don't have to watch those. But what you need to do is, if you're losing, buying in at $300, $400, $500, $600, $700 a time, and you're losing all the time, think about what you're doing. A light bulb will go off, and you can come to a side of understanding the game that I have by playing with G, playing with Ed, playing with the guys in Atlantic City, and listening to people. My wisdom comes from El Toro, G, and Ed combined into one section is what's made me a better player. So I just don't take one. There's plenty of people out there offering classes to take, and I would suggest and recommend several of them. And if you want to know, I'll do it off air, but I can tell you where I would tell you to go first. But in any event, I was a losing player, and for the last multiple years, I'm a winning player. Have I won back all the money I lost? Probably not, because I was a poker player before that. But you guys that are out there, the 70 of you that are watching us, that are losing constantly, and you're here because you want to better your game, listen to what G and even people like when they have talk shows have Heavy on there, or we get Ed on the show, and we get John to be the debater and always play the devil's advocate of which is the glass half full or half empty. I mean, it's good debate to be able to sit here and disagree with somebody, but yet still respect them, and that's what we've done. I think at tonight's show, G. I don't know that we really covered. Regression, recovery, and rebuying.
The way you stay a winner in this game is to minimize your losses. Keep your losses at a minimum.
And how do you do
Because
that? You minimize your time.
you minimize your time.
Yep.
I don't win all the time. Okay, I lose money, and when I lose big sometimes. I've lost, and Jeff, you've seen me walk away with doing the walk of shame, going to Starbucks or in Hard Rock, it's the donut place, because I dumped a whole bunch of money.
I never can quite understand what you're mumbling when you're walking away. I wish I could hear what's really going on in that mind when you're walking away.
I'm speaking in Arabic. I'm saying words that we cannot say on YouTube in Arabic.
I don't think that's the case.
Sailor talk. Waist down.
Pete, to answer your question, my table in my house here is 12 foot. G, how big is your table? 12?
12 foot.
Yeah, I know a couple of people that have 14 foots in their table, and I know people that have half tables and so forth. But to Pete asked the question, what is it? Most of us probably have 12.
And
12
by the
tables.
way, newsflash from Mr. Yo 11. I'm not gonna say it because apparently YouTube doesn't like us to say it, but the table that they have that has only one dealer in Cherokee is now CRAPS.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Interesting.
So if
All
you
right.
head out to Cherokee, It's now crapless.
G, get your pad and paper out because you're the one keeping track of this. This is the password for today's show for the first giveaway. We're going to give away this lovely mug, not this particular one. I've got a mug here from G, G's mug. It's actually not that purple. The lights are catching it. And he's got a placemat that's really nice that's going to be giving away the second one. But this one right here, this qualify below us, that's to qualify for the 5 jackets, 5-day jackets that's going to be given away. In total, guys, you got to understand that G is spending about $2,000 of his money in order to bring you these jackets. So we want to get those qualifiers in. Now, if you've qualified before, you just add to the qualifying list. We're going to take these 5 qualifiers, G, and we're going to get it done. As you can see, I can't quite see how many it is. We have 66 currently watching. We only have 29 logged in. So this is the last call. The word is qualify, Qualife. And with that said, when Jay and I get done with this session here, we're going to talk about the shows coming up in November and December, and then we're going to give you a chance to win the mug, and then we're going to answer any questions that you may have in regards to anything that we discussed tonight, and we'll talk about the shows coming up. So last call, qualify.
And by the way, what I was going to say, if there's anything that you don't agree with me and stuff like that, please post it. I whether now in the chat or later in the comments, or you can email me. I don't mind. I'm not gonna get mad or something like that. I'm willing to have conversations. But if you think that I've said something that's gonna make people lose more money or something like that because you have a better way, please by all means put it in the chat. I learn every day, so I'm here to learn too.
All right, let's see if I can get my mouse scrunched down here in this corner. Here we go, Jay. First winner, 3, 2, and 1. EF. EFSU. So I just call them EF. EF is the first qualifier. We're going to roll 4 more rolls, and this is the qualifying for the jacket to be given away in the month of December. Month of December is going to include a lot of good giveaways, including some Casino Tiers sleeves of dice between Thanksgiving and Christmas week. I will be giving away, that's a lot of sets. Let's just put it that way. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. The next one is Gypsy. And beside his name, put David. He's from New York. That's Gypsy. He's one of the groups from the Atlantic City group that's played with. And I can't remember. I believe that, I can't remember if David went to Biloxi or not. I can't remember that. I don't know. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Sean R. is a winner, qualifier number 3, G. Sean R. Qualifier number 3. And for qualifier number 4, we have 3, 2, and 1. Amy G. Amy Goodell. Amy G. I know she's qualified before. I remember that name.
Yep.
Amy G. Because one night we had all female winners in this. Here we go. 3, 2, and 1. Larry, Airborne Aces, another person in the Atlantic City area, the Atlantic City group, Airborne Aces, Larry. Larry was coming to us down to Biloxi in May, G, and he, for some reason, I can't remember, he either missed his flight or something else happened that he couldn't make it. All right, G, you take it away from here, G, while I reset and set up for this next giveaway for the mug, and we'll give them in a bit.
No, I just want to say, tonight we talked about a lot of stuff, mostly from my experiences way back when I was losing and didn't know any better and know what not to do. But at the end of the day, these were just opinions, right? You got to figure out what works for you in the moment when you're playing. And at the end of the day, it's your money. Everybody here has big boy underwear and big ladies underwear.
Just say
on,
pants.
right?
Just say panty.
Yeah. So I'm the last person to tell you what to do with your money. However, somebody that has lost a lot of money before I knew what I was doing, I always give advice so that other people don't make the same mistakes I did. Always learn from others, right? That's a good. So I hope it was beneficial. I know, Arnell, you asked about what to do. I hope it's beneficial. Maybe one time in the future, we actually do a rollout. I know Ed and I did one. Um, I don't know if it's still on his channel or not. I don't know if Ed's still on, but we did a few of these for his Patreon, and then I think he put it out for the regular. It, I think he put it out as a short where he rolled and I was betting, and we showed the different types and the regressions and stuff like that, and the recovery. Um, those will be good for you to go watch. But Jeff, if we have to do a rollout one day and show, the pitfalls and how we stand up, multiple amounts and how you recover and how you regress, we'll do that. If that helps, if that's what the viewers want to see, then we'll give them what they want to see.
All right. We're going to give you the password for the next one. I don't have a problem with doing that, and I'm hoping before the holidays is over with, the Three Musketeers get back and we can do a show. Ed just put in here that the Palms added 2 crapless tables tonight. So they're open in Vegas. If you want to go play crapless at the Palms, there's 2 tables open tonight. Breaking news here, right? Look at this up here from Jay-Z. This is Silver Fox Craps, good friend of mine from the Northeast. And Jeff always gives away Craps Nation dice sleeves. Very nice. If I said Craps Nation, Jay-Z, I still have not talked to Heath, so I need to talk to him. But I have got quite a few Casino Tiers dice that we're going to give away. I don't care whether I give away Casino Tiers or give away Craps Nation. They're both casino grade dice, and that's what we're going to do in the over the holidays. So we'll get that out of the way. Let's see. So I think we kind of got off track a little bit with tonight's show, but I'm pleased with the show and the content. I'll probably get a couple messages that say, I cut G off or I did something along the lines from the content, but we try to keep the show moving, keep it interesting, and always like to do that.
I need Jeff in the wheel because he keeps me honest, or else I could, this show could go on till 3:00 in the morning, and I can't because I gotta be up at 5.
I've done shows like that. Done shows. Dylan, Skill and Luck and I were on one night for like 6.5 hours, and it was definitely a
no. So Jeff never cuts me off. He's keeping me honest to make sure the show is moving the way it's supposed to. So nope.
Yep. So, we always enjoy these kind of comments. Guys, if you're watching the show and you're watching it on the replay and you have a question, you can put it in the comments. The comments come after the live show here, and G and I answer every one of them. G, there's 2 that you need to answer from the previous show, and we'll talk about that after the show. But it's these kind of comments that we like. Okay, G, next month we're only going to do one show. Is it dice tossing techniques, or is it So You Think You Know Craps?
It's probably going to be. Well, I mean, I was
man on the spot.
I was gearing towards So You Think You Know Craps, but what do people want to see? We're going to do one show because I'm out for 2 weeks. Maybe they can put in the comments in the chat here or in the comments later, or they can email. I'm okay. I have thoughts about dice tossing, and I have thoughts about So You Think You Know Craps. So whichever.
Well, I have to be honest with you, G. I've been here for 10 shows, and I actually like this show better. But there's nothing wrong with dice tossing techniques, because the last 2 shows you did, I learned something that I did not know prior to watching producing the show and watching the show with you.
We will do a So You Think You Know Craps show, and the title is where for what's the word? For people that pay for classes. For people that pay.
Somebody in here said that Skill and Luck said he'd like to see a show on axis tossing. I think he recommended that last month. I really do. Maybe we have to split the show. Who knows?
He wants to see a show on
axis tossing. Here, I'll put it up there.
We did that.
I don't think we did on axis.
Yeah, it was the par toss.
Oh, you're right. We did. Sorry, Dylan. We did that. He's right. We did. I do too many of these.
So unless he wants to know more about it, then I mean, I'm good. Maybe we have to do a split show. I don't know, but
That's what I just said.
did you
Oh
just say
my
that?
God.
Really? That's how tired I am. Did you honestly just say
All right.
that?
Here's your
Okay.
password for the G's mug, which has my bottle of water in it. The G mug.
Yeah.
And the mat, it's I want to win. That's all it is. All one word. Just I want to win. Make it all one word. No spaces, no nothing. Just like Arnell put it up there. And Gadget Miser has got it right. Airborne's no, Airborne's got it wrong. Don't look. I want candy. That's not it. Just because we're near Halloween, I tried to stay off those themes there. But that's the word for the mug. So it looks like the November show would be November 4th, which is election night, or we could go to the 11th, which would be Veterans Day.
Oh man.
I like the 11th better than the 4th, only because I'm kind of committed, if you know what I'm talking about, on the 4th. But
Yeah.
it's either going to be the
I'm
4th or the 11th. G and I will battle it out.
I'm gonna
We'll
I'm
roll
gonna
some
be
street
getting
dice.
committed on the 4th. I'm getting committed on the 4th. I don't know if I'll be out by the 11th. Yeah.
We need to talk then. I was going to have a battle royal. We were just going to play some street
No, 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 no,
dice
no.
and.
No, I'm just joking. I'm just joking. The 11th would work for me. The 11th will work for me.
Okay, I thought you were being serious there for a minute.
No, the 11th will work.
So no, Ed, he is not going to hump your leg again. Ed says he wants to see G. We're getting silly here at the end of the show. All right, G. We've got this last giveaway to go. I want to win. I want to give it a few more minutes. Is there anything else that we need to talk about tonight, G? Anything that we want to talk about as far as coming up in the month of December if you qualified? You don't have to be present to win. But if you do win something, not qualified, G's got all the qualifiers, but if you win something, remember you always got to go to midatlanticcraps.com, center of the page, promotion and contest, click the blue button, says claim your prize. So keep that in mind. So we give this mug and the mat away in just a few minutes. That's what you have to do. If you qualify one of the 5 qualifiers, you don't. So G, final words before we head into this next giveaway, and then we're going to wrap the show up.
Final words. Final words. Sometimes the best bet on the table is no bet at all.
Yep, you know my good friend Lauren, Big AZ. He did a video one time where he said the best way to play craps, and it was a headline. And this has been 3 or 4 years ago. It was 300 or 400 craps channels and gambling channels before they came out on YouTube. And he turned on the camera, and he let it record, and he went 15 minutes. And do you know people sat there for 15 minutes waiting for him to start that video, and they didn't understand that the best way to win was not to play. And he got some bad comments on that video, but I thought it was amusing at the time, probably good 3.5 years ago. But you're right, it is the best way to play. All right, stop that, Jay-Z. Hey there, Cast Meow. I want to win. Let's see here. I'll make sure it's in there. We're going to go ahead and give this away. Gee, I got to switch my screen over again. And we're going to go to the screen here. And it's only one winner this time. One winner only. Last call. I want to win is all one word. And here we go. In 3, 2, and 1. Oh my goodness, the Cat's Meow, the very last entry. Somebody's going to say that's rigged, but the Cat's Meow wins the mug and the mat. I remember what we were doing there. The mug and the mat. She's a winner, and I appreciate you guys that have contributed and come here month after month, 10 months in a row, 2 shows a month. It's just been an incredible run so far, and we thank you. So, G. Now we're on to the very final words of the evening. What say you?
Appreciate everybody watching us. This game is about, like I said, it's a marathon. It's not a race. Can you win big? Every now and then, yes. But most of the time, you're going to lose big. Don't believe the hype on videos. Don't believe all these people that show you big wins. They're not showing you all these other losses that they're having. the best way to stay in the game is to just get your small wins. It's quantity and quality. It's not about betting big. Trust me, I know what I'm talking about.
All right. Well, I understand that. My final words are going to be, just 2 nights ago, I did a nice show with my good friend Ed from Roll to Win. We did Beyond the Pass Line. It started out a little slow, wound up a fantastic show, a lot longer than this show tonight, Gene, but we've had our own long shows. If you want to watch the replay, head to Roll to Win Craps, or right here on Mid-Atlantic Craps. Go check it out. It's called Beyond the Pass Line. Ed and I never know when we're going to do the show. We just say, let's do it, turn the stuff on, and we go with it. And it's just Ed and I sitting there talking, and we appreciate the people that have camaraderie that's come over from that show as well. A lot of you are repeat viewers, and we appreciate that. So I guess until next month, going into the 11th month, G, I'm kind of baffled that it's at the end of the year when we talked about this time last year about doing a year-long 2 series of 2 different types of show.
And we stuck to it, and we did it. We've had controversies along the way, but we stuck to it. Real quick, if you're watching us, you're new to this, please like and subscribe. Also, you may want, I don't know if the cats meow know how to go in and put your personal information on your website. If you mentioned it, then I'm sorry. I'm just getting...
No, I did. Yep. Elsie, what you need to do is you need to go to midatlanticcraps.com, center tab, promotions, contest, claim your prize, fill it out, and then I ship that information off to G. That's the only way that he can get it is from me. So appreciate
and
that.
My little helper will send it out.
All right, everybody, we're going to wrap the show up. I didn't see any more questions come in. If I missed a question, I apologize. For those of you that stuck it out the entire 2 hours of the show, including the 10-minute pre-show, thank you very much. We still have almost 60 viewers watching now, and that's fantastic. You guys are awesome. You are what keeps me doing these shows, especially with guests. My good friend G, Gargoil, 2 shows a month like this, topics that you don't find anywhere else, and we tell it like, well, we try to keep it real, I should say. So with that said, guys, we'll see you in a couple weeks. It's either going to be Tuesday the 4th or Tuesday the 11th, our one show in November before the holidays get here, and then our big show in December. We're going to have more information about that show and what's going to happen.
Last chance to get in for the jackets.
And the last chance will be, are we going to take them on December, or are we going to take them just through November, Gene?
No, I think we're just going to talk and draw.
Okay.
Because you never know. You never know. We may change.
Well, here's the problem. I have to put it into the different system of the system I use. So we're probably going to call the jacket winners. The last time to qualify will be in November, but we'll still give stuff away in December along with the jacket.
Yes, we will give stuff away in December, but it's not going to be. There won't be any drawing to enter for the jackets. It'll be giving away the jackets.
Yep. All right. Let's quit mumbling here. Let's go ahead and get out of here, G. On behalf of all of G and myself, we thank everybody for being here. For those of you that know, you know, keep the prayers coming. Keep the thoughts there. I appreciate all the communication. I got a good email today from my good friend. I got to mention it. I don't think he's awake now. Joe Ramus from Pennsylvania. Thank you for your email today. He and I communicated today, and I just want to give a little shout out there. So till the next show, guys. Either Tuesday the 4th or the 11th. We'll see you then. God bless each and every one of you. Be safe. What? Play smart.